So, I'm Shazzy, and today I'm gonna review Black Country New Roads' sophomore album, Ants From Up There. Yes, I bought that CD. Before I begin, yes, I've been away for a while again. Just procrastination and all that fucking shit. No real reason in particular. But yeah, it's whatever. I'm uploading when I want to upload, and I'm recording when I want to record. Even though I do have to force myself sometimes. Otherwise, I would never get videos out. So, let's begin. I think about at the beginning, I wasn't that big on their debut. I think I really liked Opus and Instrumental, maybe Sunglasses too, but the rest, at first at least, wasn't really for me that much. But as of today, I adore that album as well. What was it called again? For the First Time. As of today, I think the album grew on me a fuck ton. I fucking love it now. Of course, not as much as Ants From Up There. That's a bit of a spoiler, but whatever. But still, I really enjoy that album. Admittedly, Ants From Up There is definitely a more accessible album than For the First Time was. For the First Time was a bit more experimental, I feel like, and it's just a bit more difficult to get into for the casual listener. But that does not mean that Ants From Up There is filled with less power or emotion, because trust me, it's packed with sounds that will probably make you tear up at least once. The LP begins with an intro, an upbeat taste of what's to come basically, a repetitive melody playing with a saxophone in the forefront, and then the drums coming in later, making for a quick but statement-making introduction to Ants From Up There. In the second track, Chaos Space Marine, is most likely the most mainstream you'll get in here. It's a fairly short song and really catchy, but for me it's a lot more than that. It begins with a kind of stop-start pattern, introducing the surprisingly happy vibe this song is giving off. Chorus is incredibly powerful to me. It does a perfect job at portraying the feeling of liberty and motivation happening while Isaac is singing that he's leaving that body and never coming home again. And the whole song honestly just makes me want to go somewhere far away on my own for some reason. It's one of the songs that click with me the most. It's one of my favorites, along with 2 or 3 others on here. It's just straight up fucking amazing stuff, even though it is the most mainstream, I guess. Space Marine was the first song I've listened to by BCNR, and to this day, I can listen to it on repeat without getting tired of it. And at that day, I was truly hooked on that band. Concord is a very downbeat song, at least for the most part. I love the ballad-like feeling, the melody and structuring of the song. I love the ballad-like feeling, the melody and structuring of the song, super moving and alluring. The chorus is gorgeous as much as it is catchy. The drums following after that make me move along with the rhythm. Everything about this song just wins me over completely. What really got to me though was the outro. That perfect payoff after an already gorgeous song is the icing on the cake. And every single time I put the song on it, it makes me incredibly excited to listen to the last minute of the track. And while waiting for that part, I'm already met with such an enchanting usage of instruments and melodies, which are already pleasure enough. But what's a BCNR song without an ending that takes your breath away? I think Concord wonderfully precedes Brett's song, the calmest and acoustically saddest song on this album by far, I think. Isaac singing, the held-back guitar, along with the addition of violins and saxophones, it all complements each other so wonderfully. Plus the general progression of the song is what makes Brett's song as powerful as it is. Towards the end, the feeling of mournful acceptance slightly shifts into some kind of optimistic acceptance. It's just kind of what I'm feeling while listening to this track. Of course, you can feel a bit different. Either way, I fucking love the song. It is definitely the most held back, but it's still just so beautiful. Good Will Hunting is one of the rather odd songs. I don't have anything against it, far from it. The instrumental is yet again simply delightful, and the vocals are great, especially at the last chorus. I also appreciate the synth usage in here, but the repetitive melody running for the first time of the songs sadly rubs me the wrong way a little bit. It's one of the songs that mostly don't fully catch me emotionally, which is why it's one of the few songs that I would not give a 10 out of 10. But I'm not sure how much that means, because it's still a fucking 9, 8. Yeah, I fucking love the song still. Yeah, I still love the song. It's amazing, and it's definitely one of the more unique ones because of the synth usage. It's a nice casual listen, but essentially don't include proper moments or rather melodies to properly wow me. And now we're gradually getting to the more progression focused songs. Holden is a fucking breathtaking cut, and it might very well be my number one on this album. Right off the get go, the band manages to build a fucking bewitching atmosphere. Everything feels cozy and safe, like you're sitting inside, watching the snow fall and drinking hot cocoa. But then you quickly realize that the lyrics don't quite consist of the same feeling. It's an interesting contrast, if you can call it that. The instrumental feels comforting, but the lyrics do come out to be about some sort of failing relationship. So that's definitely less comforting. One thing the lyrics and instrumentals flawlessly share in common, though, is intimacy. This is the feeling I get when focusing on either the lyrics or the instrumentals. Both of them both feel incredibly deep and personal. The feeling becomes even stronger as the drums become more powerful and Isaac's voice becomes raspier, only to end with the tension rising and rising, the piano and saxophone going higher and higher in pitch until the limits of the instruments are achieved. Everything about the song is just perfect, and I guess I can see why some might not like it as much as I do, but for me, this ticks every single box I love about melodic focused music. It's powerful, at the same time super beautiful, super personal, amazing tune. And to think that this song is improvised is mind-boggling to me. Mark's theme is the only pure instrumental along with the intro. A tribute dedicated to Lewis Evans' uncle, Mark, who died of COVID-19 last year. It's a very simple song, a good server for an interlude, basically preparing you for the last three songs, which you know are going to break you. Mark's theme is very down to earth. Lewis is the saxophone player, which is why he understandably plays at the forefront of the song. It's being accompanied by a piano, violin, and bass, if I'm not missing anything. There's no grand ending this time. Instead, you can hear a voice clip of Mark singing in a pretty silly way to kind of lighten up the mood, I suppose. And of course, in context, this song is pretty heavy and you've got to respect it. It's not complex or highly interesting, but simply a nice way to calm down and to dedicate tribute to a deceased, important relative of a band member. And rest in peace, Mark. The place where he inserted the blade also includes a simply beautiful instrumental. It becomes apparent right at the beginning. While the melodies are beautiful, I think the song becomes especially memorable at the movie-like chord progression during the pre-chorus and Isaac singing as the song progresses. Otherwise, I'd say it's on the weaker end of the really long songs, but don't get me wrong, it's still fucking amazing. It's still a 10. I would give the last two songs a 10 out of 10, and maybe this song a 9.99 out of 10, if I had to rate it. I do think it's a little bit overrated. I do think that. Because on Album of the Year, the song had, the last time I checked, 79 points, and the last song had 96. So that song is even better than The Closer, which we'll get to in a bit. But I can already tell you, for me, it is so much better than the place where he inserted the blade. Before we get to that, though, oh man, we've arrived at Snow Globes. This song broke me upon first listen. I'm not sure if I've ever cried to a song before. I've definitely come close, and this is one of those songs where I definitely came close. To be fair, it was like more of a first listen thing. At first listen, like, this was so incredibly powerful. But when I'm re-listening, it's just amazing, not tear up amazing. But yeah, whatever. I definitely teared up a bit, but didn't really cry my eyes out. And I just laughed out of awe because of how good the song was. On paper, it's a very simple song. It starts with a simple guitar melody, which does a good enough job of building up the atmosphere. 1 minute in, the saxophone accompanies the guitar, then the violin. 2 minutes in, the drummer gives us a tiny taste of what's to come. As you can see, the song has an extremely progressive build-up, which soon will end with a truly impressive crescendo. 3 minutes in, the intro's over and Isaac begins to sing. Straight up, it's just filled with emotion, just as the instruments are. Then, 5 minutes in, and you may start realizing something about the drums. They are pretty intense. Like, Charlie is slowly starting to go all out, and 6 minutes in, the most intense and most energetic, most powerful and breathtaking drumming I have heard in my entire fucking life takes place. The snow globe has been shaken. Isaac screams through the blizzard, but the drums are as chaotic as the snow is, and the only thing you can hear is his shouting. Words are barely decipherable, but as you heard previously, he's shouting, "Snow globes don't shake on their own," with an ah at the end, which. And then he repeats it, and stops when the blizzard stops, only to say it quietly one more time when everything has settled down, when the chaos has ended. Man, this fucking song. These are all the words I can say. Snow Globes has left me an emotional wreck for a solid 15 minutes after my first listen. Trust me, I'm not really an emotional guy, but the drumming, along with Isaac's astonishingly powerful shouting voice, just did something to me. And like I said previously, even tearing up to music is such a rarity to me, and this song has just easily fucking done it. Music like this is not common. Far from it. And then you might think, ooh, that could be a very good closer to the LP. But nope. Black Country New Roads decides to end the LP with a 13-minute, 3-part summary of what this LP encapsulates. It's the ideal way to round this fucking masterpiece of an album off. I think I didn't even say the title. The title is Basketball Shoes. Either way, it's down to earth. This song is down to earth. It's hopeful. It's hopeless. Everything in between. Basketball Shoes begins with slow guitar strumming, possibly allowing the listener to breathe for a second after, snow globes. In general, the first part is very slow in BPM. All instruments work together in unison beautifully. After 1/4 of this 13-minute track, Isaac's first word in here is Concord, one of many leitmotifs in the album. I'm not sure what to say in this part. It's delightful. Everything works beautifully together. It's simply enjoyable. It's so enjoyable. After about 5 minutes, we get another instrumental part which manages to portray the feeling of this album is almost over, but trust me, we still have something in store before it ends. Very well. And man, something in store it do indeed still have. The violin speeds up, the guitar speeds up, the BPM rises. Suddenly the guitar plays a melody with a slight resemblance of post-punk. In this part, everything seems fairly happy, except of course that the clamp, another leitmotif, seems to be torturing Isaac. I'm really bad at lyrics analyzing, which is why I hate doing that, so sorry. This part, the second part, does sound fairly mainstream, but that doesn't discern the fact that the voice and instrumental still packs so much punch. And now, my friends, we've arrived at the last part of the song and the final 5 minutes of Ants from Up There. The melody that was played in the second instrumental part of the song is brought back, only played slower, then followed by super intense drums, managing to build up excitement for the climax of the song, even the whole LP, so well. The last 2.5 minutes of the song are some of the best I've heard in music in years. You should know I've grown up listening to almost solely EDM, and only recently, around 2020, I guess, I started branching out listening to hyperpop and later actually searching out for rock music and such. And to be honest, I'm so glad I branched out. I missed out on so fucking much, man. I would have missed out on this album if I hadn't branched out. What a loss that would have been. Now back to the music. I fucking love payoffs like these. I cannot put into words how much I love payoffs like these. Every single instrument being played is played with pure passion, life, and pain. You can just feel it, and if you can't, then, well, I don't even know. Everything I'm hearing in the last minutes of Basketball Shoes is nothing short of pure, straight up perfection. Isaac's raspy, cracking, and shouting voice on top of them instrumentals playing together just breaks me, man. Not necessarily in the form of crying, but just enjoying. I have never heard a band like this. I have never heard music like this. that's this good, and I've never heard a band like this. Maybe we never will again. And overall, like I said, only very rarely have I felt emotions like these while listening to music. So all in all, the song is magnificent. It is perfection. Straight up. Not sure what else to say. And if you disagree, that's fine, I guess, but you're wrong. To rate the album, it is just bewitching. It is breathtaking. I could search out every single positive adjective and it would most likely fit to this album. It is just, I have no idea even. I don't think there's a single song I would be like, nah. Except maybe, of course, the interludes and intro. Although the intro it sounds incredible as well. Mark's theme is good. I respect that song. It is a nice interlude before the last 3 tracks. And I guess maybe Good Will Hunting as is the one song that isn't as amazing as all the other tracks are. Although it is still amazing, just not as amazing. But all other tracks are just, yeah, incredible. Incredible. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Lewis, May, Tyler, Charlie, Luke, Sergio, David, Thomas, Christian, Simon, Tony, Mark, Basil, and of course, thank you, Isaac. I hope I named everyone who was involved with making the album, because I thank everyone who was involved in making the album for making the album what it is. But yeah, especially thank you, Isaac. Thank you for making an album that's already as unique as it is, even more unique. I don't think I would have felt this much without your poetry and your voice. Just take care, man. Take care. Here's hoping that you'll come back someday, but mental health always comes first. Always. Always take a break if you're not feeling good in making music. You have to focus on your mental health, and I'm very glad that Isaac is doing that. As of now, I'm still listening to this album, and this band became my number 1 most listened to artist on Last FM in like a fucking week. Okay, maybe not a week, but 2 or 3 weeks. Either way, it was very quickly. It's just such an incredible album. Really, not many albums come close to this, like genuinely. Let me see something. I think albums that come close is For My Hero's Footpaths, and another album I've listened to recently, Fontaine's DC, A Hero's Death. Those 2 albums were also albums I would give a 10 out of 10. Otherwise, nothing really comes to mind right now. There's of course some that come close, but haven't quite reached it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more stuff like this. Thank you for watching. I don't have much else to say, so see ya!